Oh, what do you do when your child hates learning? If you're anything like me, you quietly have moments of tears in the shower when you're alone, when you're actually allowed to be alone in the shower. I love to learn, and I have always just had a dream and desire that my children would follow in my footsteps. What I had never planned for was a child who pushed back at any form of formal learning. Informal learning? No worries. She doesn't know. But having to learn to read and write? Well, you would think that I was the worst mother in the world. Hi, and welcome to Learning Life. My name is Michaela. I am an educator, a learning coach, a homeschool mum, and I have a child who hates to learn. I really do. And to be honest, I really struggle with this. And at times, I just feel like a failure, like I'm failing her because she doesn't love to learn. She was a reluctant learner, and I know that I have shared that before. Actually have a video on reluctant learners. Check that out below. But she was just reluctant, and lately we've had this full-on swing into this passionate hate. And that is a word that we hear. I hate learning. And we homeschool, okay? It's not like she has to get up early, be in class all day and, heaven forbid, being told, to do what she has to do. She doesn't, but she just hates to learn. And I love to learn. And this is why this is Learning Life. And, I just want to take a moment to say thank you so much for your likes, your subscribes, your comments, for your encouragement. It really does. Makes a difference, especially when you find yourself in a season like this. Whether or not our child is in public or private or charter school, whatever type of school they are, or you're homeschooling, our child can actually hate learning, can hate school, and there are some things that we can do to encourage them. It can be challenging. Oh, it can be hard. You might end up feeling like a failure and crying in the shower. But you know what? There are things that we can do to help. There are so many different strategies. I know that I have tried so many different ones. But you know what? When we can just step into them and just try them, maybe we can tip the scale on hate back to like. Understand the root cause. So, why do they hate learning? Why? It's a good question to ask. Why do you hate learning? Maybe it's because they find the material too difficult. Maybe they're just not interested in what they're learning. It's boring. Have you heard that? No, I've heard it. It's boring. Talk about anything. It's boring. I don't want to do this. Oh, it's the wine that gets to you. Perhaps they're struggling with how they're being taught. And this is where understanding their learning style can really help. Look, I find this hard because I feel like I'm trying to do all these different things, just really get to this point, what are you doing? Are there any difficulties? Let's really learn how you learn best. But maybe your child just can't fully communicate their reasonings. And that's hard. I know that my daughter really just can't. It's just, she's stuck on hate. I hate this. But we need to keep that conversation going. We need to just sort of keep bringing it up. We have to take deep breaths. And we have to be prepared that it might take some detective work of Sherlock Holmes caliber to find out what these underlying reasons are. And understanding those are really just going to be able to help us all in knowing what's going on and addressing that more effectively. Find their interests and make it fun. And we can discover what our child is passionate about and really then try to incorporate those interests into their learning. This is a good thing. I really do so firmly believe that we need to follow our child's interests in their learning. So, for example, they love animals. We've got animal-themed books. We've got activities about animals. We're going to look at animals. We make learning more engaging that way. I know that we've had some interesting themes come up, that we have studied because I've asked my children what they wanted to study. Animal poop was the most beloved one. And I know far too much about that topic now. And we can look for ways that we can make learning more enjoyable. Let's use games and puzzles and educational apps or more hands-on activities. We're going to be more interactive. We're going to be more entertaining. I feel like I'm doing all of this. My daughter hates to write. But she loves to write stories, and will gladly dictate them into her computer. But do not ask her to write it out. Do not. And I love it when she is, I can hear her recording these stories, and she loves to print them out so that I can read them. There's zero punctuation, so I have to use my finest of all editing skills to go through it. But they're beautiful stories. Now, I actually started her on Night Zookeeper, and she's loving it. She now gets up early to do some work on that program, or she wants to do it on the weekend. She loves creating the animals and then their stories and telling me, hey, I've now written this many words and I was able to meet all of these challenges. And I really hope this enthusiasm continues because as of yet, she hasn't fully cottoned on just how much learning is involved and spelling is happening and punctuation and all of these things. But what? And I ask her, what do you want to learn? And I will write it for you. I am trying to do it. I am trying all of these different things. And that's just something we can do. Let's just keep trying. And hopefully something will take hold. Be patient and supportive and honest. Oh, yes, it's important to be patient and supportive. Oh, it's important to be patient. But this is probably the hardest one for me. Oh, patient. Look, I sing it to my girls quite regularly. Have patience, don't be, and they roll their eyes. I need to sing it to myself. But, I'm having to bite my tongue daily because there are these things that I want to say, and I find myself wanting to put too much pressure on her and sort of get to just, we just got to do this. And the anger sort of rises. Look, we really do need to avoid putting too much pressure on them. Let's encourage and praise for their efforts, no matter how small. I know I find myself thank you, hooray, you answered that question. Now let's do the next one. I've become such a cheerleader. Do I sometimes resort to positive reinforcement, aka bribes? Probably more than I care to admit. But I've got to get her motivated somehow. She's the one that we can dangle the carrot in front of and she'll go after it. I need to get her there. But we also need to be honest. Okay, we have regular talks about how getting an education is something I am legally bound to do. She really likes to know what's legal and illegal, and she's understanding, okay, I'm legally bound to do it. And then we also talk about as a child, that's her job. Okay. Now I do share when I didn't enjoy school. I didn't really like science, certainly didn't like PE. And I will be open with her about how I feel about her hate. Does it have to be hate? Is it maybe we just don't like something? Oh, no, it's hate. But, I tell her that that word just sort of sets me off. I do share that it will get easier if she practices more. She doesn't like to hear that. But then I will also tell her, okay, I will back off. I will work with you with where you're at. We've had to be honest and just say, yeah, some of your friends are going to move ahead. They'll just keep moving forward, but it's okay. You do you right now because I don't want that anger. I really don't want that clash. I want to be patient. I want to be supportive and I want to be honest. Seek external support. If your child is struggling with specific subjects, maybe consider getting a tutor or additional educational support to come and help them, to overcome this. If we're not really understanding and you can't really help them with that, sometimes they hear it so much better from somebody else. This can be really, really helpful. And this can often really tie in with those reasons why they hate learning. If there's often difficulty, so that's usually the first time we start hearing hate. Now, for my daughter, I have offered to come and get someone else to come and do schooling with her. I'm like, hey, I'll have someone come an hour a day to come and do schoolwork with you. This was met with great distaste as apparently I am the only one who is allowed to teach her. If I'm allowed to teach her. Not sure that I am. But sometimes just getting somebody else for a season can be really good. Somebody else who isn't mom or who isn't these things to just really be a different voice can be so good. Lead by example. This one sounds so good on paper and out loud. Children often learn by observing the behavior of adults around them. Yes, they do. And they're often, that's how they learn all the bad words, right? That's how they learn these different things. But I know this. I know that if you show enthusiasm for learning and you demonstrate a positive attitude toward learning, your child is more likely to follow suit. But, honestly, I model reading and writing. And I model a love of learning, and it's still not being followed. For goodness sake, I model not dropping things on the floor. We still haven't got that one. They're going to get it one day. Hopefully. That's what I just keep telling myself. One day. One day they'll stop dropping things on the floor. One day they will love reading. We do. We just keep modeling. I will still keep leading by example. I will still read in front of them. I love to do it, to encourage, we're not going to do screen, let's read. I don't want to read. Fine, I'm going to read. I love to read. I'll talk about the amazing books that I read when I was younger. And I'm hey, look at this huge big stack of books that you could read because they are just so much fun. I talk about that, or even I talk about the books that I'm reading now, just so they can hear. I want them to hear it. Or if I've learned something, because I still just love to learn. I see something, I want to know more about that. And I'll tell them, hey, this is what I learned today. I am leading by example, and I will hope that soon I will see a turnaround. But I'm going to keep leading. If your child is in school. If your child is in school, you know what you can still do? All of those above strategies. Some are easy, to do if you're homeschooling, definitely following interest, really making it fun. But if your child is in school, it is good, really good, essentially good to keep an open line of communication with your child's teachers, because you want to understand their progress. You want to understand any challenges they might be facing in the classroom. And the teachers need to know from you, hey, my child right now is really hating learning. And this is some of the things that they've said, so that they are aware. When you have a lot of children in your class, it can be really hard to know the ins and outs of every child. And they're not going to know if we're not going to tell them. I'm a big believer in telling a teacher if a child is just going through a really tough time. We've lost a pet, just understanding my child might be sad, or my child really hates learning and they don't like it when this sort of happens. It really helps them. Maybe you could ask for help in limiting homework or something, because, we get home and that homework battle, and being would it be possible for this season, can I break down, and if they can show me that they can do this in these questions, we don't have to do the rest, just so that you don't get that battle on two fronts. Teachers want to help. They're not here saying you have to do it all. If they are, maybe they need to also learn. But if we're not communicating with our teachers, then they're not going to understand either. It is important to remember that every child is unique. Yeah, this is one of those things we have to look at our individual child and looking at all of these different strategies. And what works for one child may not work for another. I have twins, and I see this so very clearly. It is going to take that time to find the right approach. I still feel I haven't found it yet. Okay, I'm being honest with that. Not found the right approach. I'm still in back off and bite tongue mode. So be patient. Okay, but be persistent in your efforts to encourage, and then, and then encourage the child to love the learning. Hey, don't you love this? Because we want to swing them from hate. Right now, I'm happy to move them from hate into, and one day, right? We'll get them to love. It will get there. Well, thank you so much for watching today. Thank you for letting me be honest. As I said, it's hard for me to just see this and to be going through this. But you know what? I know that I'm not alone. You're not alone. You know what? We will get there, and we will find what works for us in this. And if you've got a child that hates learning, what are some things that are working for you? Because I would love to know, because, it's always good whipping something else new out of our parenting toolbox to see if we can be helping our children. Just shoot that comment below. Well, thank you for watching, being part of this learning life and enjoying these videos. And if you want to help get them out there, you can. And you can do that by becoming a champion. So check that out at patreon.com or at my website, LearningThis.Life.